Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Husker Heat. I'm Andy Ketterson, and The Long Gone is in there because that's one of my favorite baseball movies of all time. It showed up on HBO, I think, in the late '80s. It's still fun today because it's about a minor league team from I think the mid late '50s or something like that, and William Peterson. What was the CSI? Was the show he starred in for years, and this was before he became like the star of a however long 15-year long show or whatever it was. But really funny, good stuff. And the only place I found it available is on YouTube, and the whole movie's on YouTube for free. So if you ever want to watch Long Gone with William Peterson and a little bit of a beat up recording, there you go. But that's that explanation. And waiting patiently this whole time as I said all that was Miley Ketterson, my daughter. Miley, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
I just couldn't be better. Well, I could. Last night was St. Patty's Day. I didn't overdo it too badly. I did sleep in some, but
was there an Uber?
What's that?
Was there an Uber involved?
No, I was actually home. I think I was out of there by like 9 or so, maybe.
Look at you go.
And it's not and Tiger Tom's, the home away from home, is not a huge St. Patty's bar, so it's not like wall-to-wall people, say like a Clancy's would be or something like that. And so no, it was not a bad night. Jeffrey, our bartender, sent a Snapchat out today of a couple of gentlemen, whoever did take Ubers and probably are in a great deal of pain today because he had a picture of them, one of them face down on the bar sleeping, and the other one like just like this and sleeping, and he snapped it out there.
On the bar is the best sleep.
What's that?
Falling asleep on the bar is the best sleep.
I wouldn't know, but I think you've just told us something about yourself. I've never slept on the bar. But anyway, Jeff did. What's that?
Not even a quick 5-minute nap.
No, there's times where it's just been like, usually it's like a late afternoon or something, and I'm just going like, no, don't go to sleep, and it's just I barely started, but the day's been so long, and just sleeping on wood doesn't interest me, I guess. But anyway, let's get to the Huskers here, and not to the pain of St. Patty's Day and Nebraska not even making their conference tournament, let alone the NCAA tournament, but are going to a tournament
or the NIT.
Vegas. What's that?
Or the NIT.
Well, the thing is, I think they took this crown tournament over the NIT. But
the NIT field looks really pretty.
Yeah, and I looked at this. I looked at the field of that crown tournament, and not these aren't their best years, but there's definitely a lot more brand names in the Vegas tournament.
Yeah.
And somebody told me, I didn't get a chance to clinch it, I guess they're playing their semifinals and finals on the same day of the NCAA finals, semis and finals, that Saturday and Monday, but they're going up like against their pregame shows in the afternoon. They're playing it in the afternoon.
Wow.
But with it ending like when the NCAA games will start. So I think they're offering it as if you just don't want to watch pregame shows for 3 hours about the upcoming games. But we'll see how they do there. And let's finally get to softball. They went to Columbus, Ohio. Once again, the wind was screaming out, and the scores showed it. Huskers won the first one 9-5. Then they lost a 6-2 lead, lost the second game 13-12. And I shit you not, that Emerson Cope comes in for Jordy after Jordy gets bombed for 6 runs and only manages an out. Cope comes in, pitches the best of the three, gave up I think the 2 or 3 runs to give them the 1-run lead going into the top of the 7th. And she comes up with 2 out, runs the count full, and it is just a high and away pitch. It's like she wouldn't have looked completely silly swinging at it, but it would have made people go, what is she chasing that for? And the up, and we're done, and he's gone. And it's just when you think you've seen it all, Ohio State's about to lose 2 in a row to Nebraska. We can't have that. So let's call a strike 3 on a girl that's just bombed her last 2 shots out of the place and call it a day. Yes, I'm bitter, and I apologize to no one, least of all the lousy rats that are the umps and the refs in this conference. There, got that out of my system. anyway, so they went 1-2. It leaves them at 20-8 on the season, and it wasn't necessarily that bad a weekend. They're ranked 18th in the ESPN USA Today poll and 21st, or the USA Softball, and then 21st in the USA Today NFCA poll. But they have fallen out of the D1 Softball and Softball America rankings, and they'd be 27th in both. They're getting votes, but they're out of the top 25. But in the RPI, they started off, I think, what was it? Let me get my page from last week up, because then I can remember what we were saying last week. They were 42nd in RPI there, and they have moved up to 35th after going 1-2 against Ohio State. Which good, it's a good solid team. Ohio State now is getting some votes in the polls. They're not in the top 25 yet, but they're kind of in that same area Nebraska is in those last two polls.
I thought they received votes last week.
What's that?
I thought they received votes last week too.
They might have been, yeah. That's possible. But they weren't in the top 25 yet. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. They were getting votes in 3 of them. And now they should. I'd expect they'd be getting votes in all 4 after that, but I didn't dig quite that deep. But yeah, they moved to 19-6-1 on the season, and that's one of those where, geez, that 13-12 game. I'm just wondering if we'd have climbed up about 4 or 5 more spots early in the season here, if we'd managed to 2-1 against them. Yeah. Then Sunday, it's like they both teams started their, I don't know, you hate to say worst pitchers, but they did. And then they got, I don't know if either one of them got out of the second inning. And then Ohio State.
A slew of pictures. I think we've played almost every single picture.
Pitcher?
Picture.
Yeah. Pitcher, not picture.
It was a slip up.
And then Ohio State went back to Lauren Butte or whatever for the third straight game. So she started the first 2 and then pitched in the third game for Ohio State. And then let's talk a little bit. So their strength of schedule moved up. I think we're like 90 something. It was 97th, and just for 3 games against Ohio State, they're bumped up to 56th. So good team. Boy, we could use that second win. The best thing about Sunday is I thought for a while there that one they were just going to call that one a rain out, because the forecasts were just all over the place. And I think what ended up happening is about 4 o'clock. It started raining at the end of the game on Saturday, right?
Yep.
And then it pretty much rained from then till about noon the next day. So, yeah, I think that ended up being about 20 straight hours of rain. But then it stopped just in time for the game. It was even sunny when Sunday's game threw the first pitch out. So I wasn't expecting that. But then I think it got cloudy again. And then I saw that they had more rain getting ready to hit after the game. But they got a big break and actually squeezed it in, got the whole thing in the scheduled time. And the good news, though, was like last year, one thing that really hurt them at the end of the year and the conference race, because who's it? Was it Northwestern won the conference going away in the regular season? But then there was this going into the last weekend. You had, I think, about 6 teams that were all going for those second, third, and fourth spots, which gets you a bye out of the first round of the conference tournament. And they had that one game against Illinois that I think they just called off the third game because it was just going to be crap. It was like it was like low 40s, and then it was a little bit of snow flurries, a little bit of mist, and they just decided this is garbage. Let's just call it. And it ended up almost keeping keeping Nebraska out of a first round bye. So we didn't want any weather problems. But Sunday's game was not a conference game. I think to try and squeeze in another school or two, they've got a couple of 2-game weekends instead of 3. And this was one of those, and they must have just gotten together and say, well, let's just play a third game that doesn't count in the standings just because it's good for us to play. Ohio State, I think I talked last week about how they finished 11-2, and now they're racing out of the gate this year, just picking up where they left off. But yeah, that game wouldn't have hurt us in the standings, and not a bad idea. Good job, coaches or athletic directors or whoever made that decision, just in case. Let's talk about something now. Now that we're getting into conference, I just want to talk about who had hot weekends and who didn't. And most of the batters went wild on both teams, obviously, with the wind flying out again. Jordy Ball went 5 for 12. She hit .417. with 2 homers, 3 RBIs, and scored 7 runs, which is, I think, about 5 or 6 more than anybody else. Hannah Kamenzen became the double machine. She went 6 for 12, and talk about hitting for power. Of her 6 hits, 4 were doubles and 1 was a homer. So 5 of the 6 went for extra bases. And then Ava Bradwell, who'd been slumping, she started the weekend hitting, I think, still like in the high 190s, like 196 or something. But she started 2 games, went 4 for 8, 2 homers and 5 RBIs. So she made the most of 8 swings. And then she got her average up from like 196 to the 230. So, nice way to break out of a slump there. On the other side, and it's been glaring with both of them for a little bit. With Ava against the better, she's had trouble hitting well against the top teams. But Ava Cusack in the leadoff spot went 2 for 13 and batted 154. And you have to just wonder if you hit your normal, if you have somebody just hitting with a normal leadoff average or on base percentage, if that doesn't turn the tide, it definitely turns the tide in that 13-12 game, and you even wonder if that makes enough of a move in that game. They lost 12-6, maybe they jump on them early, and then besides that, Sammy Bland hitting in the 3 spot went 1 for 9, batting 111, and then she got designated. She got DP'd for in the 3rd game, and then they moved Hannah Kamenzen up to her spot in the third game. I want to talk for a little bit, and then you give me your thoughts too. My thought is, it's just, first of all, Sammy, that worked itself out. She'll be back. She hits the ball very hard. She's faster than hell. They need her in the field, so she'll be back in the lineup. I think they were just like, okay, if you can't hit with the one blowing out, let's just take it out of your mind maybe for a game and work her back in. Because as a freshman last year, I think she hit about 280, and the thing I remember is just all the clutch hits she had. It just seemed last year they were winning all kinds of games in the 7th inning or extra inning, and it felt like she had 3 or 4 of those game-winning hits. There was definitely one where I think it was in Northern Colorado, and they were tight with them and went to extra innings, and Sam hit one out to avoid a really embarrassing upset there. But the way Hannah's going with the bat right now, that might be her 3 spot to lose, because she'd been hitting well before that and then kind of really turned it on. But the other spot, Ava's, is it time to move her down? And I know her numbers still look okay because she crushed the bad team so badly and had 12 homers, and I only think she's hit 1 in like the last 3 weekends, maybe. Like her power's slowed down, but Jordy's is cranked up. She's got 11 homers now to Ava's 12, and she appears to be doing everything you wanted, a leadoff hitter to be doing, and I just think that's where she should be. She's actually off to a hotter start than Billy Andrews last year.
I mean, wait to flip those 2?
Well, I don't know that I want Ava at the 2 spot the way she's going. But the thing is, then we'll get to it. Minnesota pitching, not the greatest. There is that. But yeah, was happy to see Ava get it going a little. Laura Kamenzen went 4 for 11 at 364. She had 2 doubles. And so you had 6 doubles in 3 games from the Twins. So that was kind of interesting. And I feel even though somehow Emerson Cope only got 4 swings this weekend, she's got to get more than that. And, when she came in, she almost won a game for him. But because she was 3 for 4 with 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and scored 2 runs. Yeah, that's pretty good. That doesn't stink. Like to see her hit some more. And the other reason I was ready to strangle an umpire for that lousy call was she'd already had a game-saving home run against South Dakota State down in Wichita when she came up with 2 out. They're down to their last out in the top of the 7th, and South Dakota State's about to have their victory of the year, and then she just absolutely crushed one out to right field, and then we put it on them in extra innings. So yeah, it's like, you did, dude. She earned that wall. Don't do that. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah, right now it's you maybe put Jordy 1 and Hannah 2, and then Olivia DiNardo batting 3. I think Abby didn't have a big weekend. She only went 2 for 9, but she's been crushing it, for the last 4 or 5 weekends. So I wasn't too worried about that. And then the other thing, let's talk about the wind a little, because the Nebraska ERAs went up a bunch. I think that the team ERA went from a low 2 something to the mid 3s or something like that. Jordy's didn't get hurt. Well, it doesn't sound too bad, but she went from 141 to 183. Where do I have her numbers? Yeah, Jordy pitched 7 1/3 innings with 9 earned runs. Gave up 2 more homers. She didn't give up a homer in the first game, which I thought was fantastic. I thought that was a well pitched game. But then, boy, she gave up 2 homers in that third of an inning the next day, and Rhonda just let her sit on Sunday, I think, and try to get that out of her head, but before jumping back out there the next day with the wind going out again. Now, on one thing on the year though, is she's given up 22 earned runs on the year now, but she's given up 38 total runs. And let's see, I was looking I didn't write it down, but her ERA without that would be 3.15, which is decent, but it's not. You want to have a starter better than that, and she's had a few, I think a couple of times where she gave up a bunch of runs with 2 out, with an error or something like that, so that none of those runs counted. But that's a lot of unearned runs that that maybe. Maybe there's something just a little off that, we don't know about. Maybe she's just not quite all the way back in her rhythm, because, the stats themselves look fine. She's striking out a bunch of batters, but hitters are getting to her. But we have to take into consideration the wind blowing out. I mean, what did it look like on Sunday? Because I didn't really have the picture up on Sunday. I know they got 12 runs. Did they hit home runs on Sunday?
Yeah, they hit a couple. I think David Biddle had one.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a couple, not as many as Saturday.
Okay. But yeah, for the Huskers pitching staff, the bad news is I was looking at, the forecast, and it actually looks like it's going to blow, because it blows in from the north, and left field, it blows into left field from the north, and it looks like Friday and Sunday the wind's going to be blowing in, about 15, 20 miles an hour. But on Saturday, it's going to be blowing out. It's going to be coming up from the south again. So,
well, it's good they're not playing tomorrow. Snowmageddon.
What's that? Good that they're not playing
tomorrow.
Oh,
Snowmageddon's coming.
Yeah, supposedly. What are they saying now? 5 inches. The snow falls over the place.
But they've had a blizzard warning issued for tomorrow since yesterday.
So in other words, windy again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of, at some point they've got to figure out how to shut some of this off, and maybe it is just bad luck. Maybe it is just too many games. The one's blowing out, but that's 11 home runs Jordy's given up on the year now, and that's I'll try before next week to find her Oklahoma stats and see if she'd let him sail occasionally like that. But okay, let's see. We're in here. Oh, making good time. Let's talk about Minnesota a little. Minnesota gave us they battled us last year. Now, the good news is, and I wrote this down with a couple exclamation points, no more Jess Oakland, who had 20 homers last year and hit some bombs off us. What did we do? We went 3-1 against them last year, but it felt like the 3-game weekend felt like a battle, and they took game 3, which we at the time didn't know if we really needed or not. I can't remember, but we ended up still getting 3rd place in the Big Ten. So okay, we got our bye, but it was kind of upsetting to lose that one. Then they went and played them after playing them 3 straight, they go to Iowa City and play them in the very first game of the conference tournament, and just beat the brakes off them. I think that was 11-2. I think Billy hit one that hit the top of the Iowa scoreboard out behind dead center, and then hit another one over it. That was just a beatdown. But anyway, yeah, no more Jess Oakland, and they're missing her, and the pitching isn't good. But they have played a pretty good schedule. Let me give you their numbers. They are they're 13-15 and 2-2 in conference. They split series with Michigan State and Penn State. And then they played a tough schedule. Their strength of schedule is 38th in the country. They went down and played the best. And they beat, what's that?
Strength of schedule is 33.
Oh, is it moved up some? That was just what I took off the Nolan site today. But they beat Missouri, but they didn't really get wins against any of the other really good teams they played. They played somebody good close, LSU maybe.
They played Duke close.
Was that like 2-0?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of then. So they can hang in there, but let's start with the pitching. There's two pitchers that pitch almost all their innings. The other pitchers, I think, don't really have more than 15 innings or so. The one who pitches most is Sydney Schwartz. She is 4-8 with a 3.28 ERA, not bad, and then a 1.428 WHIP, which is walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So that means she's putting close to a base runner and a half on every inning through a hit or a walk. That's not great. You really, on your starter, like I think Jordy's is still like, and I didn't recalc it. It was 790 or something, like below 1 going into this weekend. If it might have reached 1 because of that one inning, but we'll find out. I doubt that she's pitched 85 innings now, I think, so I doubt it would have done that much. So it's probably still under 1. That's very good. If you're around 1 to 1.2, you're still you're still doing all right. 1.428, you're letting a few more runners on than your coach is probably happy with. But that's because their second best pitcher, Presley Hosick, is 6-4 with a 4.45 ERA and a 1.765 WHIP with almost 2 runners per inning. That's not good. And Sydney Schwartz, she has in 83 innings, she struck out 70, walked 34. So decent strikeout rate, too many walks. Presley Hosick in 56 innings has only struck out 20 and walked 27. She's walked more than she's struck out. So I'm seeing why Sydney Schwartz pitches as much as she does, and I just love for our bats to get behind whoever's behind Presley Hosick on that pitching staff, because my goodness, she lets a lot of people on, and the others are worse, and their ERAs are in the 5s, like where McGee's is, and yeah, we just love to get a hold of them. On the batting side of it, I like the leadoff hitter's name, Nanny Valencia. I picture her mother just heckling her from the stands and barking out orders. But no, she's hitting 393 with a 471 on-base percentage and 4 homers. I suspect she's the leadoff hitter. And then Taylor Kraft, she's about Kraft. Oh, God, with a name like that, I don't want to leave the F quiet. It's Taylor. I'm guessing Taylor Kraft. God, that's unfortunate. But she's only batting 304. I mean, 304 is a good average, but that's like 5th on the team. But she has an eye because her on-base percentage is right behind Nani's at 467. And so she's walking a ton. She's getting on base a ton. She's got 10 homers and 22 RBIs, and she's slugging 823. So her OBP then would be 1.270, that's a dangerous hitter. It's like they may not have Jess Oakland anymore, but Taylor Kraft, is probably on target. She could get to 20 homers, and then she's making him pitch to her too. And so just with all those walks, she's not chasing anything bad to do it. So anyway, there's your story on Minnesota. And oh my goodness, yeah, that's one we've got to sweep, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
There's really not an excuse for dropping one there.
I mean, if our pitching looks the same way it did Saturday and Sunday, we might be in a little trouble.
But they're going to be. I see, but everybody was getting knocked around.
Yeah.
I think Butte finally settled down on Sunday for them when they only gave up 6.
I mean, but we played like 4 pitchers on Sunday too.
Yeah.
So no one was really doing too great.
No, but yeah, the thing about it, the only thing when the wind's blowing out. Also, if you're a hitter, you're just swinging with a lot more confidence. And then line drives that normally, might not even get to the fence. If they've got enough of that backspin on them, then they just hang up there and barely get over the fence. So I don't know. If there's wind, I like our chances because we've got a much stronger batting order, top to bottom. And I get that they've played some good teams. We're not that far behind them in strength of schedule. We've played some good teams too. And we got the bats going, again with the win, but against a good staff in Ohio State. So I don't know.
They did also play Tennessee, and they lost 9-1 in 5 innings.
I did see that. Yeah, so I wasn't going to mention that one because that's about what you expect Tennessee to do to them. But yeah, let's go back for a second.
Here's a Propel sponsored by Andy.
What's that?
Here's a Propel sponsored by Andy.
Oh, I'm here for you, man.
Oh my God!
Come on.
Trying to get a brand deal.
Let's grease the wheels here. Give Daddy some NIL.
Don't call yourself that.
Your picture's kind of been flipping on and off a little, and right then it was just like when I did that, it was just like you disappeared. Like, out. I'm out. That's right. One of these shows, I'm just going to sit there trying to use all the horrid young slang I can and drive you crazy. Going to talk about the movie that slaps.
Got any riz?
Yeah, got any riz? Using my riz. Yeah, brother. Well, now I've got my friends in their late 30s trying to say that stuff, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm too old for that stuff, but guys, you're not 17 anymore.
I mean, I'm kind of too old for that stuff. I'm getting there.
I feel like you're still on the edge of it.
I'm getting there.
Mid-20s. Oh yeah, you'll get old fast enough. Don't you worry a bit.
Oh,
but let me get your opinion on. Well, first let's check. We got a couple of comments, so let's not ignore those. Tony Washland says, "Don't you mean the much beloved Gophers?" I called them in the article too. Those stinking Gophers. Nah, they're just enemies this week. And I got to be honest when it comes to ranking the Big Ten in hatred. And what was funny was right before we joined the Big Ten, I wrote an article on the percentage likelihood, like the percentage of hate, like how likely are we to hate these guys or whatever. And I think I had Minnesota around 2, whereas I had Ohio State and Michigan in the 90s. And Minnesota, it's like, there was even the Minnesota fans. You probably remember this. It's when you were playing on the Pee Wee Boys travel team, and we went up and we played in Rogers, Minnesota, at their high school. That was while the Big Ten title game started. The Indomitian Sioux throws Colt McCoy around, but then they put a second up for those stinking Longhorns. Yeah, we remember that one. Well, we went like across from the street from the high school was this pizza place. So I remember we were just maybe down the road a football field, but we went down there to eat, and here we are all yell at the TV, and then some guy came over. It's like, hey, so what are you cheering for here? It's like, oh, so we came up from Nebraska for a hockey tournament, and the Big Ten title game's going, and we hate Texas, and so we apologize for any of the language that has and will yet come during this game. And I remember all the other people in the restaurant kind of came over and hung out and started cheering for Nebraska with us. So when we joined the conference, very quickly what was I going to say? We joined the Big Ten pretty quickly after that. I can't remember if that was the last year. It might have been. And so
I thought that game was in 2008.
I think it was 2009.
Was it?
I think so. Well, we're in, but maybe it was 2008, or did we join the Big Ten in 2010?
I thought we joined.
I think we joined them in 10.
Yeah.
Because I think that like Sue was a senior.
I'll Google it.
But anyway, so I did I actually ended up doing a article on who I thought we'd hate the most. And I put down all the reasons I thought we'd hate each other, and tried to make it funny. But I mean, they're not the much beloved Gophers this weekend, and I don't know that I would go much beloved Gophers ever. But we don't mind the Gophers. And then what's Connor doing there for you?
I don't know.
What's that little? Did we say something horrible?
Hands on the eyes.
Yeah, it's almost like he's cut. Yeah, like he wants to cover his eyes but can't.
What is that? I've never seen it on the.
Yeah, only with big, huge eyes or whatever. But nope, you got me there. But anyway, do you have the game times in front of you?
I can.
Whoop them up if you would. Thing is, if I go to another screen on this thing, then you see me disappear from the TV screen.
Oh, wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, you're on that. Yeah, shut up. Who asked you? Got those times yet, or what? What am I paying you for?
You're not paying for anything.
I know. It's a good line.
Yep, All right. We got Friday at 5.
Okay.
Saturday at 1.
Okay.
And Sunday at noon.
Huh. Okay. Good enough. Tell you what, let's pop up a couple of pictures here. I meant to be doing this while I was talking about each one of them. So here's Jordy, hit great, got bombed on the mound, and I always like that. I think she's just getting ready to cheer for her team or something, but it looks like she's pointing at something that the umpire should have seen, and he's an idiot. Let's see. There's Ava. I wanted to have a picture of her, doing her home run trot while we were talking about her off weekend there. And then there's Abby, and wanted to have a picture of her smiling after she went 2 for 9. Here's a picture I didn't get popped up there the original weekend, but that was their game against Wichita State when I was up in Wichita, and somebody had just hit about the 400th homer that night for Nebraska when they beat them 15-0, and just from that little bunker press box that's actually right down at field level, I got that shot of the celebration. Got this shot of Jordy in mid pitch against the Missouri game that we won on Sunday morning, and there's just and that's when we beat South Dakota State. That's from the Nebraska Athletic Department, but that's when we beat South Dakota State in extra innings and Lincoln at the game that didn't get over till 10-something. And and here's fun. Here's when you know that you're just looking for any kind of laugh you can get. There's my new shower curtain. And if you can't appreciate a corgi firing an automatic weapon off a great white shark, gosh, come on now. That's just wonderful stuff. That was definitely a little bit of the thinking last night. The good old Captain Jack Sparrow, and that was about it. Oh yeah, here's to another windy Saturday.
How about a windy Wednesday?
Oh yeah, but at least we don't have to be outside for that. Yeah, enjoy the snow and the wind again. I guess we're gonna go. What do we go? We went from a blizzard to 70-something degrees 4 days later. Now back to a blizzard 3 days after that, and then I think it's supposed to warm up again the next week. Yeah, spring in Nebraska. It lasts for 3 or 4 days. You're only gonna get 3 or 4 days, usually early May or middle May, that are gonna be just 60, 75. Other than that, it's 40s and raining, or then then that you get those 3 or 4 days, then it's 92, and screw this. And anyway, well, that's about it for tonight. I know you'll be thrilled, Miley. You look a little tired as well.
Yeah, it was a very hard workout today.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, good. It'll make the rest of the days go better. A good workout will. And I think that's about all I got. So this weekend, come down. I don't think it's going to be crazy windy. It's not going to be like the winds. What was it? The blizzard last week where the winds were steady at about 25 or 30 and gusting to 50 or 60. At least for baseball or for softball, it won't be like that. Baseball either. And Vince Watson says you're echoing. Oh,
yes,
okay, probably doing that. It sounds
it.
fine on mine, but as long as we're not both doing it, who cares? It's Miley. No. Bleep, and then you blip out again. There you go. That's my sweetheart. But anyway, yep. Miley is echoing. I just wanted to share. I like Vince's little like crazy clown guy there. That's a sweet logo. But yeah, so yeah, it won't be that windy. It'll just be breezy, 15 miles an hour. I think is what it looks like.
You know what you
if it doesn't change, but it doesn't look like we're in any danger of rain or anything like that. What's that?
You know what you should do?
What should I do?
You should bring Drew on here to give a weather report.
Yeah, except he's usually at work.
No,
we still got to get him. Still got to get him on this summer for when we do Mighty Ducks on the All the Right Movies. The All the Right Movies.
Renewed for season 2.
What's that?
You were renewed.
I'm renewed for season 2.
Oh God. Mom, what did you do?
That's right. I won't make you do more than one since those go a little longer. We get to chatting away during those. Yeah. Well, we'll see about it. Hey, anytime you do hear one of us echoing, go ahead and throw it up there. Maybe it just started on Miley's end, because I can do a quick on and off and reload, and it's usually fine. That happened. It happened a couple of times during Husker Heat during the football show in the fall. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, and we'll get that fixed for you. But other than that, come down. Let's get a sweep of the Gophers. Let's move up a little. Let's see if the pitching with the wind blowing in gets it back together. I don't want. Let's just say if Jordy's pitching were to suddenly go downhill, I think a lot of our hopes and dreams for the season go away. But no, there doesn't look to be anything super wrong. I think they got stuck with a pitch a couple of times, according to Coach Ravel. And then and she has, I think, been facing wind at the back for three straight weekends. It was definitely blowing out in Wichita that last game. It was blowing out in Lincoln until it was blowing out good in Lincoln last weekend until the sun went down on Sunday, and then the wind kind of died down. But that's when the 154 hitter hit one out of the park. So yeah, we don't. I think she'll be fine. We just need to get some wind blowing in and give her that Friday start, and let's roll. That's all I got. Any final parting gifts or words for our hundreds and hundreds of fans?
No.
The hundreds. Come on, work with me.
No.
Shoot. And then for any other hockey fans out there, season 4 of Shoresy is on now.
Oh my God.
They started it streaming it a month earlier in Canada than in the U.S. And if you like hockey at all, and even if you don't, but you think hockey's goofy and funny, you'll enjoy it. It's cast really well. The star of it is also, I think, the guy who writes it and produces it, and he's just hysterical. And then as they actually say in the show, it takes place in Sudbury, Ontario, and they said, and there's strangely a high percentage of really hot women in Sudbury. And the 3 owners of the team are gorgeous, and they fight with Shoresy all the time, and Shoresy just fights with the world all the time. And don't let the children watch. It's definitely not for the kids. And give it a shot. And if you do, let me know what you think. Oh, perfect timing, Husker Bob. Thanks for the updates, Miley and Andy. Husker Bob, thank you for watching and listening and all that, and we appreciate it. And we love coming in here and giving you all the updates we can. And one of these days, it's like I think I figured out how to finally get my videos working on here. So I'll try and get lucky, get some clips of games here and there, and see if we can get those on here for you as well. But other than that, Miley?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
GBR.
Sir? Huh?
GBR.
GBR. Go Big Red. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Kick some Gopher butt this weekend. And yeah, go Big Red. Night, everybody.